Welcome to the No Quit Living podcast. Our primary objective is to motivate and inspire our listeners to never quit. The reality of life is simple. We all fall. We all fail. At times, we get knocked down. The question is, do we get back up? Are we stronger? Are we better prepared to attain the maximum of our potential? Thank you for joining our No Quit tribe. As you go for your greatness today, never quit. And remember, we rise by lifting others up. Welcome to episode number 349 of the No Quit Living podcast. I'm your host, Christopher J. Worth, and today's theme of the day is hard work. Our quote of the day comes to us from Colin Powell. A dream does not become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. For those of you that happen to be local, we are hosting a live event on Saturday, May 14th in Eastchester, New York. If you are looking to take your personal and or professional life to the next level, you won't want to miss this event. For information or tickets, please shoot me a message at chris@noquitliving.com. Our guest today is someone that I truly admire, and also someone that I look up to for daily inspiration. Some of his videos and posts have gone viral because Lou Caralla is one of the most real individuals when it comes to taking action and putting in work. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Lou, I'd like to welcome you to the No Quit Living podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. I really look forward to it. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you being here. The first question we ask everybody is, are you ready to positively impact at least one person today?
I wouldn't have been born if I wasn't ready.
That is so true. And for those of our listeners who follow you on social media, you have some awesome videos. And per our title of our podcast, No Quit Living, I wanted to ask you if you either have a no quit story or perhaps a really challenging time where you could have given up or given in, but you didn't.
Yeah. So two stories real quick. My playing career kind of set me up for my actual career because when I was in college, I gave it 2.5 seasons at a place where I was going through setbacks and injuries and being lied to, all that stuff. And I had a choice to make going into my redshirt junior year where I had 2 years left. They're going to treat me the same way. And if I stay, I quit. Like, that's how I looked at it. So I didn't quit on myself. And I realized if I did stay, I would have been. And a lot of people say, like, hey, stick it out, don't be a quitter. I really think sometimes, though, you are quitting if you stay. So that was me. And then I went to another school and had incredible success. And I did everything I dreamed of as a college football player. First team all conference, you name it, captain, all that stuff. But it would never happen if I never bet on myself. Same thing in my career. Just, I get my first head job as a head strength coach after being an assistant for years, dreaming of it. 11 months later, I'm fired. All right. So my wife's pregnant. She's due in 2 weeks and our health insurance cuts off then. So find a job or be paying a lot for a baby. So, and just scary times, and ended up getting another head job, fortunately. And 2 years later, I was fired again. And at that point, I was like, is it me? What's going on? Like, I just can't fall into a good luck role. So that was very hard for my family because they had so much friends where we lived and my kids were happy and stuff. And it gets a little harder with kids. So, but I said, you know what, look, I could go be an assistant somewhere and that would be fine. I'd still be happy, but I really still want to be a head guy and give it one more shot. And I did. And I got an opportunity at Buffalo. And that year, after being fired twice in a row, I was National Strength Coach of the Year. So it's just believing in yourself. That's really all it is.
I have to touch on the first story you shared because I think it's so important how you touched on quitting on yourself versus staying in the same position. And I get asked all the time, Chris, do you believe that you should never quit no matter what? And I think obviously the name No Quit Living is kind of, putting out there that you never quit. And I think to your point, I feel, and I'm curious to get your perspective on this, is it would have been quitting in the sense of if you never played again and if you said, you know what, I'm done, football's not for me. But I look at it more as you pivoted or you shifted from one area where, unless lightning struck, something wasn't going to change. So I think that to me is a difference of of quitting versus going at it from a different perspective or a different angle.
That's right. And I had a bunch of friends there. I was comfortable there. Like I had a good base of, a comfort level for sure. But again, I'm like, I know what I can do. And I know they're not seeing it here. So, and I tell the guys all the time that aren't happy in programs that I coach, I'm like, look, give it some time, work your absolute butt off, try to make it awkward in the film room why they're not playing you. And then it's not your fault. It's out of your hands. And then you make a decision. If you jump too early, I think that's, annoying, but, just always, I didn't change anything. Head guy, player, I just did the same thing. I just had a different opportunity and it clicked.
I love that. And I think it is so important in regards to what you said about the film room. And I share that with a bunch of my players that I coach all the time too, especially in the college level. I say, you can't control what a coach thinks or what a coach is his opinion on something. I said, but you can't, lie on the film. I said, so when you're watching film of a game or practice, I said, if you're, just doing your absolute best, the coach is going to see that. He may not want to admit it, but the reality is, and I'm sure too, but film doesn't lie. I can say a bunch of things and tell you how great I was, but, you look at the film and say, you missed every shot or you missed every block. I think that's really, really important. Question we ask each guest is, if you had to define yourself, but you can only pick one word, what word did you pick?
Determined.
For those that know you and follow you, I think that signifies exactly who you are. Interesting question in regards to morning routine. I was curious, do you have a morning routine that you swear by?
Yeah. So I live in Atlanta, but like traffic doesn't exist at 4 a.m. So I can't stand getting to work when the sun's already up. It bothers me so much. I can't stand working out when the sun's up. I just don't want anyone here with me. I love it by myself. That's my time. I always get here at 4 to work out. I start my workout at 4 a.m. And it's my time. People say like, don't be selfish. Well, that's the time to do it because you're not stealing from anyone. And the field is empty. The weight room's empty. You play your music. You have your thoughts. You write stuff down when you think of them. And I love getting what I need to get done before there's any distractions in the day. And I have a full heart the rest of the day. You can't bother me then.
I think that is so important. I myself get to the gym at 4 a.m., the gym that I go to. And to your point, it's not just for me about the light being out or not, but I get everything done on my terms, and then I have the rest of the morning and the rest of the day, and I don't have to worry about or stress about getting to the gym or following up. And for me, it's just super important to do that.
Yep, no question.
So you have a video that you and I spoke about for a second that's gone viral in regards to lazy people and winning, and I just wanted to ask you if you wouldn't mind just briefly expanding on it, because I think it is so powerful.
Yeah, lazy people do a little work and think they should be winning, but winners work as hard as possible and still worry if they're being lazy. So all that means to me is there's so many kids that like to think they're doing enough, and they think like, hey, I got a good workout in, but so did everyone else. Like, nothing's different about you. So if you're not willing to do more than what's required of you, if you're not willing to be paranoid about your own potential, you're never going to get past anyone, because the bare minimum is just that. And look, everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to have a dream and be an all conference player and win the conference. But like, if you're just basically meeting the standard, you're not ever going to be the standard, and that's the point. Like, I'm constantly paranoid about my own potential. I make promises to myself that nobody would ever know if I broke, but I will never break them. And I stick to that to this day. I've never given a player a workout I haven't done before they've arrived, because it's so important to me to know they're going to be safe and to push them when I know they're going to hit a wall. And I mean, again, it all goes back to, if you're going to be a winner in anything, you got to worry about being lazy, and if you're doing enough ever. So,
I think that's so important. And I think probably that's why your video went viral, in the sense of, it's not just for football, and it's not just in your space or my space. It's in any walk of life, regards to being truly successful. And I wanted to follow up on a question you talk about in regards to winning and being lazy. And one of the things that I talk about often with my clients is it's easy to win one game, or it's easy to get one workout in. And I don't mean, whether it's at the professional level or in college sports, meaning it's just, you snap your finger and you win a game. But I'm talking about in regards to the length of an entire season. It's easy to go 1-11, or in the NFL, 1-16, 1-17. But it's not easy to get that second win and then the third win. And then I think in the same regards to working out, it's easy to get one killer workout in the sense of I did it once. And as I think we all know, it's the question of, do you do it a second, a third, and fourth? And wanted to kind of maybe get your perspective on that.
Yeah. So I always go back to reps 3 through 7. So if you have 10 sprints, there's going to be a big group of people that kill those first two. Like 1 and 2, everyone's good. I think it's the 3 through 7 that fades everyone in this population these days. Like there's 90% of guys now on everywhere you look that just won't make it through 3 through 7 because it's not exciting. And that can be week 3 in an off season. Weeks 1 and 2, you're so fired up, man. Let's go. You just had a break. You're the lifter of the day twice, But then week 3, soreness, unexcitement, still waking up early. Something happens of adversity, and your emotion dies because your desire is not that strong. And then 8 through 10, right? 8 through 10 is easy because you see the light, you see the end, you push harder. The most impressive people to me in a sprint, in an off season, in life are the ones that you never have to worry about. They're going to give the same thing every time. Now you got to be conditioned for that in a sprint, no doubt, but you got to be conditioned mentally in an off season. You got to be conditioned mentally in life, where if these kids expect something different from me every day, I'd be fired. I got to be the same guy all the time for them, no matter what's going on in my life, no matter what's going on in rep 5, 6, and 7. I have to be the same guy. So that's what I preach. And I think people get lost in the shuffle when their goals aren't strong enough, when they don't have enough details written in their goals, and they fade.
Do you think, in regards to that analogy you gave of the 10 sprints, wanted to get your opinion on this, is do you feel people give up mentally before they give up physically, and they give up where they say, I'm done, and their minds say, okay, but they have a lot left in the tank?
There's no question. If there's days I'm sore and I don't have a mentality of I'm going to get 100 reps today, right? That can change a lot of ways. I'll get 100 reps, but some days I might do 4 sets of 25. But if I go in with the goal that I'm not stopping once ever till I get to 100, I'm going to get there. It doesn't matter how bad it hurts. Once I make a decision, I'm going to do it. And a lot of people don't make decisions before they start something. They just go in and test their feelers out, and then they fade because it just doesn't feel good. So if you don't have a plan going into it, you're not going to come out with what you could have come out with.
I think that is so powerful. And to your point a little while ago, is I think it's for all areas of life, not just in the gym. It's whether it's in the classroom, could be with family, friends. I love that. Wanted to ask you if you are currently reading something, or perhaps you've read something recently that you'd like to recommend to our listeners.
Yeah, I'm always trying to listen to podcasts, always trying to read. I recently finished Tim Grover's book, Winning. What a resource that is, man. That guy's unbelievable. But I also read a lot of John Maxwell. I could go on and on about him. But recently I just read A Leader's Greatest Return, just talking about getting the investment back from the people you're developing. And then Tim Elmore, actually become friends with him. He gave me his new book last week, and it's the 8 Paradoxes of Leadership, and just unbelievable examples to help all leaders of all kinds. So
I love that. I'm sure you're familiar with the quote by Jim Rohn, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If I could grant you dinner with any 5 people, dead or alive, that you could level up from, who would you pick?
Well, Barry Sanders, number 1. He's alive, and I hope to meet him one day. I just don't know if he'll ever appreciate the way I worshiped him my whole life. But I would like to talk to John Maxwell. He has been inspiring me for over a decade. I've had the chance to be around David Goggins for a while at Michigan when I was there. So I was around him for a year, but I would love to sit down with him again with a bunch of questions. So he'd be one. I think Tom Brady would be another one because of, he's so amazing on the field, but his leadership is probably the most impressive thing I've ever seen on a team, ever.
I'll throw a curveball at you. If you had to pick somebody dead.
Muhammad Ali. Just the mindset he had and the whole culture that he shifted and the whole thing. So, yeah.
I think that just from the perspective of the two that you picked, I'd love to witness a conversation between Tom Brady and David Goggins just to see kind of how the dynamics went between the two of them. I think they'd either get along really well or maybe they'd sit at opposite sides of the table.
That'd be a fun table.
So going to throw some hot seat questions at you, and the only request we have of you is you spit out the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Last meal, you can pick absolutely anything. What do you pick?
Steak, mashed potatoes, and gravy, green bean casserole.
Favorite smell?
Bacon.
Favorite sport?
Football.
Do you have an all-time favorite team?
Lions. Unfortunately, because of Barry, but yeah.
What is your favorite movie?
Movie? Rocky IV.
Do you have an all-time favorite book?
In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day by Mark Batterson.
Great book. What is your favorite app you have that you use on your phone?
I'd be lying if it's not Twitter and Instagram. I mean, I learn a lot on those things. So,
do you have what is the background picture on your phone?
My family.
Do you have an all-time favorite quote?
You wouldn't have been born if you weren't ready.
And what's that one song, no matter whether you hear it at 4 a.m. in the gym or 8 p.m., that you just automatically turn it up and rock out?
No Easy Way Out, Rocky IV.
I think I'm getting the feeling that you're a big Rocky IV fan.
I am. I love it.
So my side note, a couple of my college buddies and I, whenever we worked out, right before we worked out in college, we would always put that scene in the snow in Rocky IV when he's going out, and we'd watch it for, I think it's only like 3 minutes, but we would just put it on, and then you just go out and crush the workout.
It is. It's that movie. It's that music. It's all that stuff. Yep.
So speaking of, you touched on Instagram and Twitter for a second. Wanted to ask if there may be one or two people that you follow that really put out inspirational, motivational content that you'd like to recommend to our listeners.
Inky Johnson and Eric Thomas and David Goggins. I mean, it's like those three are ridiculous.
Those are three guys that I follow as well. And then what's the best way for our listeners to connect or follow you?
At Louis Caralla on Twitter, and then at Lou Caralla on Instagram.
And then the last question I have for you is the same question we ask everybody, is if you have any parting words you'd like to leave with our listeners today.
I just think there's a lot of times you want to go for something big, and everyone wants that. I want that, but it doesn't happen without that first small step. But nobody wants to do that first small step because people look at you like you're small. You don't want to be seen at the bottom. So I'm telling you, if you buy in with your whole heart on what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to make it. And because once you believe in your purpose and what you want to do, the adversity at that point doesn't matter. It doesn't faze you. You're going to do it. It doesn't matter how it looks. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You're driven to do it, and you got to be realistic with the goal. I'm not saying that, but just find out what you want. And once you know, there's nothing more powerful. Like everything else just gets out of your way. So that would be my advice, because that's what I've lived through too.
I think that's perfect advice, and it's a great way to end today's episode. And I truly appreciate you jumping on here today, and I hope that you and I can connect again soon. Thank you for listening to episode number 349. My challenge to you today is very simple. Take an idea, concept, or strategy that Lou shared and begin implementing it today. Don't wait until tomorrow or next week. Do it today. Don't forget to go crush your day, and remember, we rise by lifting others up. And lastly, to our listeners, thank you. We truly appreciate your time, and we hope our episodes inspire you to keep on attacking life and never giving up. To quote Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, it's always too early to quit.